How are you? It's me, Andrea the Art, again, systemic psychotherapist and owner of Flamenco Psychotherapy. If I'm going to be honest, yes, I do believe psychotherapy is the greatest art. There you have it, Messiah complex. It's just that the work is hard. The work is actually a tremendous piece of art, a tremendous piece of work, and it's an act of the moment. It's an experience of the moment. And I have to say I'm the most excited to even share some tips with you because one of my services has been to teach and train psychotherapists. I'm a clinical social worker here in the United States of America, and I've had the pleasure to train psychotherapists too. And I was hired by Fordham to teach family systems therapy, and it was a great experience. It's a framework that I redefine systemic psychotherapy, and then some of the therapists that I trained came also to work with me. Although it is a giving act, I have to say, and it is the most messianic complex ever, because in teaching psychotherapists and in being a teacher of psychotherapy, I've endured the most scapegoating of my life, the most traumatic experiences of perhaps my career. I mean, it's just a lot of traumatic experiences. It's a very hard group, the psychotherapist. It really is the ancient witches and wizards of the world. And a hard group to teach, a hard group to train, because obviously they come with their own investigation. They have messiah complexes, right? So they don't own it, right? And very hard to engage that type of group and to give. But it is a giving act. I don't regret it. I think it's a wonderful experience. I'm not teaching psychotherapy right now. I wouldn't say I wouldn't teach anymore, but I would certainly, take care of myself in teaching, especially in a culture that's away from respect for the ones who have given them a knowledge, right? These are some of the things that start to concern me about systemic issues and about systems issues, right? In one hand, you see the difference with my culture. In my culture, we revere the elderly and we revere those who teach us. I, for example, I don't call my teachers by their name. I say, maestra, and we're talking about my flamenco teacher, my writing teacher, my psychotherapist, my own clinical supervisors that trained me throughout my life, my teachers in clinical psychology in Ecuador. I mean, I have the greatest relationships with my true masters and my true mentors, of people who really taught me and wanted to teach me. I've been a student my whole life. And as a matter of fact, that's fundamental in developing the art. You are a student. The art requires a tremendous capacity to study yourself, to study others, to study books, to gain knowledge. It's a search for knowledge in its fundamental form. Is you being thirsty out there, trying to look for a better idea on how to integrate yourself in the world and in the earth. That's at least how I started. Other psychotherapists start in a different place, but I started like that. Truthfully, as an altruist, as an utopian, as a person that wanted to see a better world than the world I was living and the world I existed and I came from. In my work, in my career, then I began to be that person, in act of faith, in act of hope. I treated, some very dramatic cases, complex trauma, which is one of the toughest things to treat, because it just creates so many other ramifications of disorders and illness, like schizophrenia, bipolar, borderline. And we've had a lot of ramifications of disorders that are become tremendous, for the psyche and very hard to heal out of childhood trauma, because obviously the psyche could not process some things. Therefore, the psyche generated incredible defenses. And then in some cases, in the worst cases, the psyche is perverted. It's out of law, right? Those are the worst cases. And I would say for the new generation, for the generation of psychotherapists, absolutely take care of yourself. I've been too brave in my career. I risked myself. I did. I don't recommend the way in which I practice. I was too brave. I was too messiah complex, too much. I believed that I could do and I could heal and I could do tremendous things. And yes, sure, to a certain extent, that's the drive that helped me in my success. But on the other hand, you have to protect yourself. You have to take care of yourself. You have to really assess, and thank goodness now for, you're being able to assess clients virtually and without personal contact. You can risk your body if you don't know somebody. Because there are tremendous mental illnesses going around, and it's growing and growing. And unfortunately, people project their disorders on the therapist. People project, they deny, they don't want to go to the right source of their conflict, the right source of their issues, whether, for example, I'll give you an example, if they have been abused, sexually abused, or by even a close relative or people in their family. Instead of facing their own things, instead of facing their own challenges, people can project their stuff on you. So you have to protect yourself from those clients and from those people who are not there actually to do the work on themselves. They're there to judge you. Some people come to therapy, and I've learned the wrong way, believe me, to actually, that's the source of perversion, to question you. What are you? Who do you? What? Worst type of client, worst type of person, because they just don't own the service. The service is about themselves. You're here, the toolbox, with your education, with your hard work, trying to help. And of course, you have to be paid for that service. It's a big job, big job. And unfortunately, in the United States too, and in many places, people don't pay, and even the insurance companies don't pay properly for this service. It's terrible. So you have to protect yourself even about that, about your survival, how much your service is worth. So you have to do things like that. You have to be very, in a way, protective, put systems to protect you, have, your records, have your clinical notes, have your stuff, because it is difficult. It is a difficult job. So I tell to the future generation, to the people who want to do this art, the art of psychotherapy, yes, it's a long road before you can actually feel established, content, before you can actually feel that you have it. I am very fortunate. I'm 37 years old, and in my career, I've had tremendous success, tremendous success. I've seen the other end of suffering, I can say, for myself, for my clients, for the people who truly engage and work with me, and I'm very grateful for that. That's why I'm now writing, summarizing some of my work, coming to other conclusions, and moving forward into other developments of the art, other things that I have been able to gratefully develop with my artistry. I hope that this was informative, that this was helpful. And if you have any questions, you can go to my website, www.systemicpsychotherapycenter.com, and you can send me a question, or you can send me an email with some questions, and I would be happy to respond. If you have questions about our wellness programs, if you have questions about our services, I do see people individually in psychotherapy. My fee is $200. I do see them individually. I have a very full load right now, caseload, but I'm still getting and see new clients if people need it. I hope that you pursue your faith and your hope in your own healing, which is what's fundamental for all of us to become much more civilized, much more evolved, and to have peace on earth. Thank you.